Welcome back. Okay, we're going to continue with part 3, and we're going to be working with hair clumps. So what is a hair clump? It is basically each time you see a curve and you have these hairs around it, that's called a hair clump. So we're going to show you how to work with those. You know how to basically trim and extend, shorten, lengthen, and now we're going to take you through the hair system and show you some of the things you can do with that. Now, we didn't really go crazy with the thickness because right now the display quality is 100. You can see that mine is kind of slow, and I've got a very fast card. So if yours is really slow, what you can do is with the display quality is turn it down. Okay, and I want to get rid of those curves real quick, so let's do that. Click on the curves in the outliner and go Control H. There we go. Now we can just see the hairs. Okay, and I'm going to go Control A again, and let's go ahead and select the hair system, and let's go back into hair system shape. You can see that I can turn the quality up and down, and if I turn it down to something like maybe 5 or 6 or something like that, and I play it, it simulates way faster. Okay, then when you're finished simulating, you can stop it, and then you can turn this up to see what it looks like. So that's kind of what you're going to have to do if you have a very slow system, or you're running on your laptop and you're having a hard time. You're going to have to change the quality when you add hairs. Like if I was going to paint more hairs, which I'm going to do because it won't look good, it's what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of make sure I go around, maybe around halfway, and you might have to go less depending on your computer and what you're using. And I'm going to click on this, the object, and I'm going to go back in here to nHair and just going to create more hair. So I'm going to go paint hair follicles, and I want to add more. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to create follicles, right? And this time I'm going to bring it up to 40. Okay, that's a lot, but and the hair length at 5. So I'm going to go back. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and start painting hairs. Okay, just because I want I want this to really look good, and the only way to do that is to get more hairs in here. So I'm just going to get as many as I can. Now, again, beware, your system may crash if you go too many. Now, the reason why I'm not crashing with my video card is because I've got the quality way down. The minute I turn that up, I better not simulate. I better have the simulation completed, otherwise that's going to be a real problem. Okay, so I'm just painting in more around the whole entire thing. I probably should just done the front because we're not going to see the back anyway, but anyway, I'll just go ahead and finish this up here. Okay, I think I got it all. I'm going to hit the Q key and just click off of here. Alright, so we're back on the hair system. Go ahead and click on hair system. And probably a good idea for me to do now is go ahead and save scene as. And I'm going to save this in case everything goes to pot and I lose it. At least I don't have to paint again. So there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and go into the PFX hair shape 1. Let's go back a little bit more. There we go. That's what we need here. System hair system shape 1. So we've got all follicles selected. That's what we need. And then display quality. Again, I'm going to bring that all the way down, not to 0, but something like 1.5, and go ahead and do a simulation. And because I have so many hairs, even my system, even with that way down low, it's going to be very slow. Okay? Alright. Alright, just kind of let it bounce around a little bit more. And then when it goes down a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and stop it. There we go, something like that will work. Great. And so now I can bring it up without crashing my system. Just slowly move it up. There we go. So now you can kind of see. Now I'm not going to simulate anymore. If I simulate with it now, it may crash. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and we'll kind of get an idea of what this looks like. You can see we've got you can see the faceting in here. This is the paint effects, and that's what it usually looks like when you're really close. Okay, so you can change that and bring the sub segments up. Now beware when you do that, it does smooth them out, but it also doubles the amount of time it takes to simulate. Just wanting to let you know that. So 1 is probably plenty enough for most of us, and from far away you could probably get away with having it at 0. But that's how you can. But if you're really close and you need a really smooth effect, you can even go to 2 again. That's really pushing it, and it's going to simulate so slow. I'm okay with it because we're far away from it. So I'm just going to turn that back to 0. Alright, so thinning. Thinning, it's hard to see on this because it's already simulated down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring it back to with it sticking straight out so we can see a little bit better on the ends. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit closer so we can see the ends here. So thinning will take it and thin out the very ends. Okay, so I can go ahead and you can see how it just kind of thins out the ends, and that's a good thing because right now it looks like it's a piece of hair that's perfectly cut. With the thinning, it looks a little more natural because it's taking each hair and it's randomizing the length, and that looks a little more realistic, I think. That's my opinion. And the clump twist really is something that I don't use too much. It's just twisting it around. I don't see any benefit to that myself. The bend follow is the extrusion of it. So if I can go in here and it can move that down a little bit. Again, I don't see a huge difference in how it looks. Okay. And then clump width basically kind of makes the clump a little bit wider at the base, which is what I want. So I'm going to bring that clump width pretty far up. And again, you have to be careful how far you take that, but that helps it kind of keep it from looking so bald when you get at a certain angle, especially with a sphere like that, or a head of hair, which would work too. So you can see that I can bring that all the way up and just experiment with that. It's kind of cool. And then the hair width, again, that kind of follows with the ends, how wide you want the hair on the ends. Those kind of work together. Okay, so bring that down. Here we go. Okay. Alright, so we have clump width scale, and we have a graph here. So I kind of like the fact that what it does is it's taking, here's the beginning, so that's the base right here. I could take that and move that down a little bit like that. You can see how that thins that out. So it depends on what you're looking for. You can have this going on where it's kind of really thin at the bottom and then kind of thick on the end, or in the middle, and then thin at the ends. So I'm going to bring this back to where it's more natural looking. I'm going to bring this up because I like the ends of the hair to be as thick as the base. Okay, that's just me. Of course, if you want something that is something like that, that works too. Whatever you'd like. I'm just going to make that a little bit wider on the ends. Okay, that's the clump width scale. Hair width scale. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of move that around. Again, this is harder to see. The differences in this. That clump curl you can definitely see, so be careful. This kind of gives it a curl to it, which is kind of cool. Alright, so I don't need that. That's a clump curl. Okay, let's bring that back again. And you can give it a little bit just to kind of make it so it's not perfect. It's kind of a good way of using it, maybe. And flatness allows you to flatten the hair at the base and at the end if you want to. So it's kind of cool, actually. But I'm going to keep that low. I'm going to keep it nice and thick, so I don't want it a flatness. I might want to flatten maybe the ends. It would be kind of cool. Give that a try. And then we've got the clump interpolation, which kind of fans these out a little bit more and helps it clump together, making the hair look a lot thicker than it really is. Okay, so you just kind of play with that a little bit. And I want to see what this looks like. Again, we can see all the way through it, but once we simulate it, you can kind of mess with the clump interpolation and interpolation range to see how it you know, changes the way it looks. We're at 100%. Let's bring this down. We're going to need to, believe me. Bring that down. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and simulate. Just be patient, it's going to take a while. Go ahead and pause this and come back when it's done. Okay, so that's my simulation. I'm going to go ahead and bring it to 100%. And you can see that I've got a little bit of wave to it, which is kind of cool. And here now you can go into some of these and just kind of mess with it a little bit more. So I've got clump interpolation, and I can bring that down. You can see how it changes. Okay. And you can make changes as you see how the hair is kind of laying down. Okay. Now another thing to help with hair is take the scalp and add a color that's very similar to the hair, and so if you see through it a little bit, it won't be as noticeable. Okay, it's noticeable now because the layer is, or excuse me, the material is gray, so it's a lot easier to see through the hair. Okay. Alright, that's how you can kind of mess with the hair system and the clumping. So we'll get back. We're going to do some more anyway, kind of play with those a little bit. And we'll see you in the next video.